my name is Bennett. I'm 25 years old. I just moved to New York City about 2.5 weeks ago, so still getting used to the area. I'm coming from Los Angeles, and in the fall, I'll be starting law school. So I played one LRG and then two online games. I actually started with online games. My first was a 16-person cast. I finished in 5th place. And then I played one more online game about 3 months later, 18-person cast, finished in 6th place. And then after that, I figured, let's get into the live games. Those seem like a lot of fun. Those seem like a place where I could probably work a little bit more strategy in than just like jumping between Zoom calls all the time. So I went and played Survivor Los Angeles in their second season, and I was second juror, swap screwed. It's okay. It was a split tribal, 5 people, 4 of whom I had never talked to, but it's all right. So I really enjoy the games. I'm super excited to get to build like a Survivor community out here in New York, New Jersey, because like I said, I moved here 2 weeks ago. I know literally no one. So I'm super excited just to have Survivor friends, play a game. There's a little money on the line that always makes it a bit better. So I'm excited to get going. The biggest. I've seen obviously all 46 US seasons. I've seen all of Australia. I'm currently working my way through South Africa and New Zealand. I live and breathe Survivor. I do like massive 160 person like fantasy games where I go and cast past players and just go through like, oh, I think Heidi Hamels from Amazon would really get along with, I don't know, Kelly Nalbandian. That's an alliance, great. And go through a whole game like that. My favorite season is, speaking of Heidi Hamels, Survivor Amazon. I absolutely, from start to finish, I loved that season. It's the perfect mix of like great characters and then really dynamic and interesting strategy. Rob Sesternino, Jenna Maraska, Heidi, Dina, those are all like Survivor icons to me. Like they're top tier. In terms of, how is that going to influence my game? I would like to think that I could play a game like Rob, constantly setting myself up in the middle. Whenever I am playing in the pre-merge specifically, I usually have pretty strong pre-merges because I am always the person in the middle.
You're just throwing out too many names and it's going to be a liability at merge.
The next person voted out is Survivor Los Angeles, Noah. Sorry.
It's when they bring in, 10 new players who I haven't met and haven't talked with, and all those opportunities open up. I get the Dean of Bennett of it, where I need to make sure that I'm the one driving the plans, and that I sometimes, because of that, don't build the bonds that I need to with all the other players. And it comes to bite me around Final 5, Final 6, when everyone's like, yeah, Bennett's a threat, and none of us really care to keep him in the game much longer, and I get chopped. I think the problem is I am a paranoid person. I am somebody who likes to be in the know in the plans, and I need to just let myself be okay with taking a backseat more and just building bonds and making sure that, I'm friends with all the players first, and then I have the strategic relationship. And I think if I can make it to the night where we're all just camping in, sleeping bags under the stars, chit-chatting, I think that that's going to really help my game. So I'm focusing first and foremost on making it to the night and then using that night to build all of those bonds. I'm expecting, possibly some kind of Exile Island or some kind of twist like that, where we're going to be isolated from the rest of our cast at various different points in the game, or different times where we're going to necessarily be separated into smaller groups so that we have less places to hide, which is something that I'm okay with and something that I'm excited to play with. And then also the fact that, we're going to be camping for a night. I've never done an LRG where we've spent the night outside where I needed to bring a sleeping bag. So I'm really excited to give that a go. I mean, I'm not a massive camper. I haven't done a ton of camping. Actually, the last time that I did go camping was with my family and our neighbors set a picnic table on fire. My brother got stuck in a mini golf course and broke a windmill, and so we're banned from that campsite. So I'm not a routine camper, but I think just for one night I can survive. I think that that'll be fine. I'm not too worried. I'm a pretty affable and adaptable person. I think it's not going to be too much of an issue. I'm expecting, smaller starting tribes and to at various different points in the game, especially in the merge, be split into those smaller groups. And actually, I feel like that helps my game. I'm a person who, when the options are 5, 6 people, I have a way of talking strategy with people that's relatively blunt that people tend to gravitate towards. It's why in the pre-merges of all the games that I've played before, I've never been at risk. I've always been the person, either calling the shots or directly in the middle of 2 opposing alliances. And that's just because people tend to trust me in those scenarios. It's when the game balloons up and there's, now 10, 11 people that I have to worry about that the game really struggles for me. So if I can make sure that I'm always, in those smaller scenarios, I think that's actually going to help my game. I mean, I'm obviously rewatching old Survivor seasons, making sure that I am up to date on everything that could possibly go wrong. I've been analyzing, just meditating and analyzing my own games that I've played in and where I sort of feel like I've messed up. And I feel like I have a pretty strong sense of what my game is, where my shortcomings are, and where my strengths are. And so I think to that end, yes, I've done some prep. To the other end, I'm not, getting into CrossFit or anything like that to make sure that I'm a child. I'm not doing anything crazy like that, but I'm just, analyzing how I think I'm going to be perceived, what I think my strengths and weaknesses are, things like that. Oh, I was watching in a org once, and they kind of did this on season 45, but not to the extent that I think it could be done, where the advantage depreciates over a set number of tribals. So your first tribal, it is an idol. Your second tribal, it's like a 50-50 coin. Your third tribal, it's an extra vote. Your fourth tribal, it's something that's worse than an extra vote. And then your fifth tribal, it's gone. So you make your plans based on all right, if I want to take out Brittany at final 7, I can't use it as an idol, but I can use it as an extra vote. So how does that influence my strategy? I think something like that would be really fun and dynamic to play with. Well, first off, I am the type of person, I will probably tell my closest ally that I have an idol, because I do like to have a person that I can bounce strategy off of, and it's bode pretty well for me. So I am the type of player, I will most likely tell my number 1 I have an idol. I think that's even more important when somebody catches me finding the idol, because then that can create a crack. Why didn't Bennett tell me that he had an idol? Why am I hearing this from Brittany when we've been so tight this whole time? And then I think, it's up in the air as to whether or not I'm saving that idol and building up my target, or I'm just burning the idol the first chance that I can get. If it's, the votes are going where they're going to go and it's a courtesy that they're telling me and there's really nothing I can do, I'm sorry, Brittany, you're going home. And I probably won't give you the heads up about it. I don't want to do anything that would jeopardize my position, especially if they're voting out my number 1 right there and then. That said, if there's a chance for me to be able to do something, if it's a tribe of 6 and it's 3 pairs, myself and Brittany, a pair that's coming for Brittany and then a pair in the middle, I'm going to position myself to try and get that pair in the middle to come for us. Maybe I play an idol. If I have an extra vote, maybe I try and get us to split the votes off of somebody, even myself, and 3-2-2. But if it's just going to be 4-2 and they're telling me to make it a 5-1 vote and there's nothing I can do, sorry, there's nothing I can do. I want Survivor friends. That's a very big goal that I am setting myself out to, at the end of this game, have friends that I can talk about Survivor with on the East Coast that I can go to watch parties with and really start to build that community. But at the end of the day, there's $500 on the line. So I'm willing to, separate the game from friendships and make the decisions that are going to win me the game. That's never been an issue for me. The first game I played, I was playing with a girl named Amy, who was one of my I had a number 1 and number 2. Amy was my number 2, but Amy was playing in a hurricane. She was sitting at home as a hurricane was coming over Puerto Rico. And I was like, obviously I can't beat her. She's going to get to the end and just say yeah, I did all this while I was playing in a hurricane. So I cut Amy at 6. It's not an issue for me. I'm willing to do that. I love Amy. She's great, but she had to go. I don't know, there's like the Taylor Swift line from Marjorie, never be too clever, you forget to be kind. That's how I'm gonna try and play this game. I feel like in the past, I was the first half of that lyric, never be too kind, you forget to be clever. And I think I'm gonna try and flip that up a little bit for this game.
So, will Bennett survive being stranded? Only time will tell.
Fingers crossed.